3. We're still exploring roots. And what I'm going to do is talk to you a little bit about the Iberian roots of Latino music and the role that the Iberian and North African sounds play in Latino music, which is a very strong aspect of the influences that you'll hear as your ears become attuned to these different nuances in the music. So quickly, just a little bit of history. The Moors, which were from Malta down into through Algeria and even Tunisia, came up just across the Mediterranean, which is really just right across the way. Spain, it's just right near northern Africa, as you know, near Morocco and Sierra Leone down on the other side. Anyhow, the Moors came over, and as with parts of Sicily and Italy, and throughout those southern regions of Europe at that time conquered. And this was around 711 AD. And of course, they brought their fantastically powerful and scholarly culture with them, their music, their food, their customs, and those sounds that infused into what was Hispaniola or Hispana culture of the time. Now, Hispana culture, even at that time on the Iberian Peninsula, in specific, even Portugal, right at the end of that peninsula, was already very influenced by Northern Africa and the Middle Eastern sounds and culture. Obviously, being right across that thin sliver of Mediterranean there, the trade routes were vibrant and open, and so those cultures had been influenced by Northern Africa since AD times. Yeah, I'm sorry, BC times, BCE. And so this is something that has been part of the uh, Iberian culture uh, since time immemorial, really, since ancient times. And so these are the sounds, of course, that were that were throughout that area. Um, like as I said, Africa, Northern Africa, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and then this beautiful hybrid of the Hispana, Basque, Middle Eastern, Arabesque, North African sounds were all there present before the Niña de Pinta and the Santa Maria sailed, for better or for worse. So pre-contact, all of these influences are happening, all of these conquests, um, and it's interesting because not only were they the Middle Eastern sounds from Northern Africa, but I mean, Cordova was really a center also of scholarship and cultural exchange between the Jewish, the Hebraic peoples, and the Arabic peoples, which they were very much united in culture. The Hebraic peoples were the Sephardic, what we call now the Sephardic Jews. And so all of these mixtures and all these sounds are there. And then, of course, you take perhaps what is most influenced what we hear, especially in more modern times. And when I say modern, I mean from the Renaissance on, and that is what is called the Romani, or the Gitano, or the Gypsy sounds. Which came at that time. The Romani lived in parts of southern Spain, such as Cadiz, or El Puerto de Santa Maria, or Granada, or Sevilla. And those sounds were also infusing. So you've got this rich, vibrant blend of sounds, of cultural mores, of you know, as we're centered, of course, on music, of musical style. And that's what came with the exploring Spaniards. And after that, you know, beyond just the conquista at the time, we can describe it as the people who came as campesinos, as farmers. And of course, they brought their folklore and their musical influences, which were also very influential in the sounds of what Latino music would become. So what I first want to do quickly is just demonstrate. I want to demonstrate a little of the sound of the Romani or the Gitano or the Gypsy as we know them, know these people who essentially are nomadic, uh, clan-based people, originally out of from northern India, is was really their origins and Pakistani. So all of the sounds of the Gitano and the more Arabesque come from what we call the harmonic minor scales. So it sounds like this. Cántame del camino, cántame de la fogata antigua, no, de la rosa negra del desierto, de la canto yo, rumbo gitano, yo sí, a que sepa tú, esa rosa negra que brilla en su toco, sí, la vida la gitano. La vida en el gitano. So there were these chants, and there were the different styles. The Andalusian was more the festive, the dancing, where we see the flamenco dancing that we're familiar with, and then there were the more solemn soleas, and those were more based on the on the Middle Eastern sounds and songs of lament, the eternal travel of the Gitano. And so those were kind of the cantos of the early ages prior to contact with the Americas, but of course made their way across the ocean. Um, what I want to do now, just quickly, is to link what we're hearing in that fusion, in that hybrid, in that mixture, because when these sounds arrived from the Iberian Peninsula and North Africa, they met with, of course, the Africana people that were brought, and of course with and then the Portuguese uh, from that same Iberian Peninsula had a different sound as well. So these all blended with the indigenous sounds that were here in the Americas. And so we're starting to see those musical traditions and how they influence each other. In Mexico, there's a style, and it's all based on this el son, S-O-N. There's the son jarocho, there's the son huasteco, and then you move into the el Caribe, Cuba, República Dominicana, Puerto Rico, etc., on down to Colombia, Venezuela, all those coasts where many of the African peoples were, of course, initially through slave labor, worked on various things from sugarcane to rice to banana picking. And then, of course, blended and, became part of the indigenous cultures as well. There was an absolute mixture of peoples, and that's what brings the beautiful mestizaje of Latin America. So those sounds, if we listen, for example, I'm going to play an old song called La Bruja, and this is, of course, a little later, but the influences are here. So when I say later, I mean in the early 20s, 1920s. So there's even a waltz in there, and as we know, La Waltza, which came later from France and also from Germanic peoples that settled in Mexico. So, but you can hear that harmonic minor. Ay, qué bonita es volar a las 2 de la mañana, a las 2 de la mañana. Ay, qué bonita es volar, ay, mamá. Me agarra la bruja, me lleva al cuartel, me vuelve a maceta, me da de comer. Agarra la bruja, me sienta en su pierna, me da de besito, da de besito. Dígame, dígame, dígame usted, cuánta criaturita ocupada usted. Ninguna, ninguna, ninguna no es. Qué pretensión de chuparme usted. So you hear those sounds, and there's also some indigenous Nahuatl and dialects weaved in there that I'm not very good with the pronunciation with. I'm just attempting to emulate, but here they are singing in a native dialect mixed with the Middle Eastern sounds, and that's called La Bruja. And then there's the son, which you're going to hear in Cuba, Puerto Rico. So there's a song called El Cantante by Hector Lavoe, and this is more of the salsa sound of the early 1970s. But you're going to hear these influences in there. Yo soy el cantante. Mucha gente que comenta, sí, sí. Oye, Héctor, sí, si tú estás hecho siempre con hembras y en fiestas y canta la vida de risas y penas, en momentos malos y de cosas buenas. Yo soy el cantante, dan medida a escuchar, el público aplaude, oye, el cantante va a cantar, sí. Ole, 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 aguanile, 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 aguanile. So I just wanted to give you just a little demonstration of what I'm talking about. It's amazing because you hear those aguanile, 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 and you hear those Middle Eastern sounds, those Iberian sounds, those Gitano, Gypsy sounds, those Hebraic, Jewish sounds, all of these Middle Eastern sounds that are meeting with indigenous and African rhythm. And so that's my little presentation on some of the Iberian essentially, and North African roots of Latino music. Thank you. You guys take care. Have an amazing week. Please send us any questions that you have. I've been really enjoying the discussions. I'm going to jump in there more and more and strike up some dialogue with you. Okay, muchas gracias.